And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to ALPOUGH. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. We made it. We made it. One more day, get a couple days off. Really appreciate you coming in. Those will be coming in now. Those will be coming in later. This is a very important topic that I wanted to talk about. So as I was thinking today, I was thinking about how the world is right now and that we need support more than ever because we're all going through a different thing right now. And I want to say that we're in what I would call a traumatic times right now that's causing trauma. Okay. So today I want to talk about another tough subject. There's nothing I will not conquer here as long as I'm not censored. So childhood trauma equals addiction drama. Our childhood trauma that we develop as a kid equals addiction drama. So if you have addictions, which can be anything, which we're going to talk about here, where did it come from and how do we change it? How do we change it? Well, we're going to change it today. All right. Addiction. The fact or condition of being addicted to a particular substance, thing, or activity. Addiction is a biopsychosocial disorder characterized by compulsive engagement in rewarding stimuli despite adverse consequences. Behavior that persons find relief and therefore craves in the short term. So whatever that is, it's something that works for you, but you know that it's only good for the short term. But what ends up happening is it suffers negative consequences in the long term. Okay, so something starts in the short term where, yeah, it kind of works for a little bit, and then it ends up turning into something that is in the long term. And what ends up happening is you know this, but can't give it up. Okay? Now, this isn't just about drugs. This is any behavior. Any behavior. And right now, social media is an addiction. They've now done a study, Facebook on Instagram, how Instagram is affecting teenage girls. It's affecting the way they see themselves, comparing themselves to other girls who are more successful than them, causing them issues with their looks and how they're gratifying themselves and how they see themselves, and then also how they're being treated by the boys out there. So social media is one of, if not one of the new addictions that's come in this century that wasn't here before that, and that it is causing this epidemic on social media for really what's called, I call really low self-esteem. And this competitiveness, this false competitiveness that is resulting in all these other issues. And it really comes down to what it'll come down to is adding more addictions. Also could be eating. Okay, what's going on now? Obesity. Obesity is, it's one of the survival instincts that we have. But again, what's going on now is it's causing all of these, this obesity and the diseases that come, and you die early. It's like eating yourself to death. Sugar. People are addicted to sugar. something as a relief, long-term and short-term. Could be gambling. You know, that rush of feeling you win, but the down when you lose. Gambling. Could be fighting. You love to fight. You start fights. You have it's wanting to deal with pain, feeling pain, and then also giving pain, giving out pain to people. Because you don't want your pain. So you want to feel a different pain. This is why people who are depressed, they may cut on themselves. This is an addiction. To feel the pain so they don't have to feel the brain. It could be sabotaging relationships. You can't be in a relationship, or you pick a relationship that they're going to sabotage you. So no matter what, even if you're in a relationship, it doesn't work. And the toxic relationships that you attract, okay, keeps the trauma going. All right, it could be working out. Some people work out. This is where you have people that are anorexic. They're working out constantly, and it overdoes it. Okay. Video games. Well, I actually meant to go shopping and video games. So shopping, going to spend your money, knowing that you're going to overspend. You're just going to buy that dress when you have a whole closet full, but you need that dress, or you need that watch. That's something that's going to make you feel good. Or you're addicted to video games. This is another thing that's very, very serious, is video games. People spending their time, hours and hours of playing video games with people around the world. Now, and so there's no relationships. Everyone just has violence. Okay. It could also be extreme sports, things that could get you hurt. Okay. Website sexual relationships. So this is something that's that you can hide. See, but only you know that. Okay. And then drugs. Of course, drugs. What do drugs do? All right. All right. So now here's what it really comes down to. Is addiction a choice? Is addiction a choice? True or false? What do you think? Put it in your comments here. If you think addiction is a choice. What addiction is your fundamental needs are not met. And this is what causes addictions. Is when your fundamental needs are not met. And where does it start with? It starts with the loving attachment from your parents. Okay? Let's talk about that. Your parents, you have to be attached to. As a child, see, as human beings, it takes more time for human children to grow up than any animal on the planet. Just think about it. A whale, when it has a baby, the baby comes out swimming, whole 9 yards immediately. Same with an elephant. Of course, they're still around their mom, but they're walking immediately. You see? So now, when you do not have a loving attachment, now remember, we're attached to our parents. We need them for everything. They had to feed us. You had to live off your mother's breast. They had to give you food, clothes, teach you how to use the bathroom. And so there's this attachment that we have with our parents that we need. But if it's not loving, Okay? So here's about the loving that you feel within that attachment. So the attachment causes love. All right? Love. What's another word that we want to call about love? Because maybe as kids we don't really know, but what it really is, it's bringing out natural endorphins. This is what drugs do. This is what opiates do. Okay? It's naturally these opiates, which and endorphins are, is a natural opiate. It's a chemical that comes from the brain when you're feeling loved and when you're feeling that attachment. Endorphins. Endorphins are endogenous opioid, neuropeptides, and peptide hormones in humans and other animals. They are produced and stored in the pituitary gland. So it's a chemical that's a natural drug that helps you feel good. It lets you feel good, right? You feel good, all right? So endorphins act as analgesics, which means they diminish the perception of pain, right? What do drugs do? They take away your pain. What does love do? Love takes away your pain. They also act as sedatives. They are manufactured in your brain, your spinal cord, and many other parts of your body, and are released in response to brain chemicals called neurotransmitters. Okay, so now, when a child is denied this, when you feel as if your parents don't love you, when you see behaviors, okay, this is not trauma. What it is a traumatic events that we experience as children. Traumatic, it's traumatic, the events, all right? Some of those events are divorce, okay? Your parents are divorced. Alcoholism. Arguing. And so what this makes you feel like is the lack of attachment, the lack of the loving attachment. And trauma is what's left inside of you. It's the trauma of the events. It's not the events. It's the trauma. And this cuts off the endorphins. You get, well, we're going into that. Okay, so again, human children need parents for survival of everything. Everything. Food, clothing, shelter, love, acceptance, positivity. You see? Unconditional acceptance, unconditional love. This is what we get from our parents for survival. So now, remember, we need our parents well into the teens. We need our parents till we can go out here, get a job, and get on your own. So you need our parents well into our teens. So what trauma does, trauma within, it forces the intellect. So now we have to understand our surroundings. So we're in our head. Okay? We don't have these natural endorphins that make us feel good about ourselves, okay? So we're into our intellect and not our gut feelings. Where's that gut feeling? Your gut feeling is the real you. It's the real you. And most of us do not discover the real self until we really leave the nest. And that's when, if you don't find the real you, this isn't for everybody, but it is for a lot of people. You have to actually leave to find the real you, right? Parents' trauma is passed on. Okay? So if you can see this now, it may let you understand your parents better. Because when you get older and you understand life and you understand conformity and you understand that the world is different than what it was in your home. And so you have to disconnect yourself from the attachment of your parents. And this is what takes time. Because, the easy thing is blaming the parents. It's easy. And rightfully so on a lot. Okay? But with all these events, these traumatic events that happen to you, you want to learn how to put them behind you. Let it roll off your back. So the problem is not addiction. It's not addiction. Addiction is the end result. The real result, the real problem is solving the trauma is the problem. Solving the trauma within yourself as a result of the traumatic events that came over your life. This is why, once you leave the nest, it's best to not go back. Only for a brief time to visit, or however it is. Because if your parents haven't solved their trauma from their traumatic events, then they're going to remind you of that every time you go home. And so this is why when you grow up, learning spiritual neutrality is so important. Okay? What is the problem? Solving the problem is this. How do you do this? By the reconnection of your true self. The reconnection of your true self. Recovery of the lost you. What does recover mean? You found it. You lost it and you found it. You found yourself, the lost you, the one that is now time. Doesn't matter your age. What matters is finding the lost you. In this new world we live in, this still applies. Once you recover the lost you, once you just open that door of the lost you, then it's time to grow up for the first time It's time to grow up. By what? By what? What do I say every time when I open the show? I didn't do it today because I know I was going to do it now. I am an adult of my spirit. See, you are spirit. Trauma weakens the spirit. Weak spirit, weak mind, weak thought, weak body, weak emotions, weak love. So by becoming an adult of your spirit is the number one key. An adult of your mind. An adult of your thoughts. An adult of your thinking. An adult of your emotions. An adult of your body. An adult of your love. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the key to finding mother, to connecting to your spirit, to source, filling yourself up with the spirit. Being an adult of your spirit is making that connection with fellow spirits that relate within you. This is the most important thing. Mother keeps the word simple. If you begin this process every day of I'm an adult of my spirit, mind, thought, body, love, emotions, you are what you think about. You are. Remember, the trauma inside are what? Thoughts. Thoughts that are wounding you. Thoughts have weight. If you analyze your thoughts, you're going to see that some of your thoughts outweigh some other thoughts. And this is why we're complex. I talk about CPTSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. It's from traumatic events that causes this complex trauma within. And sometimes you have to break this down one thought at a time to delete these thoughts. You can delete thoughts. You can go and put them in rooms and shut the door. You can't get rid of those. You can put them away, but they are part of you. And you will be reminded of them. And just know, as you go into this process, by being an adult of your spirit, mind, thoughts, that you could attract toxic people in your life that's going to test this. And this is your test to understand that you are finding the you. You are living on your gut now. If your gut tells you this person is not for you, get away. If your gut is telling you, just go visit your parents for 5 minutes and go away. If this is with family members, if this with friends, this is part of cleaning up as you go into the new. And this is what I want to give you to think about over the weekend, is dealing with the causes of the trauma within. Trauma is a problem not solved, and it can be by releasing it and loving yourself. Do me a favor. Just tell yourself you love yourself today. Just say it once. If you got to say it again, say it again. And again. And again. I release my trauma. And again. I bring in love. I replace it with love. I'm attached now to my heart. I'm attached to my gut. I am attached to love. The love within myself. Simple. It begins now. It begins now. Yeah, we got a couple comments here before we get out of here. Hey, ALPOUGH. Yeah, getting ready to do that. Amanda's coming on from 4 to 6 Pacific time on Twitch. Amanda Darling. Her show's coming on. If you want to check it out, 4 to 6 on Twitch. Amanda Darling. Oh, thank you, Tracy. Great topic today. Amanda, thank you for this healing subject. You're very welcome. It's very relevant. Right? Very relevant. Good luck on your interview today, by the way. And finally, our love language is whatever our parents didn't give us. Gosh, that's deep. That's deep. Yeah, it already comes down, when you go back and look back at it as you come in your own spiritual neutrality. Then when you're in that, see, this is what this whole result is finally being in spiritual neutrality where you are unattached. You're now the new you. You're attached to yourself. And so being in spiritual neutrality keeps you exactly where you're supposed to be without being affected by outsiders. So, happy Friday. Have a great weekend. And ALPOUGH. That's me. And I'm sending you out love. I'm sending you out love. Let not your hearts be troubled. Give yourself some love this weekend. I will see you on Monday. Thank you for listening.